Hey, what's up, Dean? Super Performance at the shop. I always say that. I don't know why. But kind of busted my butt today. Got Kevin's engine. I had it in the car overnight, basically 2 nights, um, to make room for Jonathan's truck. So I pushed Jonathan's truck back, picked the engine up, brought it out. I couldn't leave it orange. It just looked terrible. So I had the parts store. Always straighten out your Chevy emblem. I had them bring me black paint, intake gaskets, oil, filter, RTV, and then just my stuff, rags, brake clean. But all that stuff, I don't know. I can't remember what they brought. Bunch of stuff. Plugs. So it'll have a fresh set of plugs, everything. So I took his, obviously sprayed the engine to black, which looks good. It came out good. Um, and I took his valve covers and I looked at where it said 383 in the bow tie emblem, and then it said Chevrolet or however it said it. And they're actually stickers. So I took that whiz wheel thing. I don't know what it's called, whiz wheel or buzz wheel or flipper flapper. This thing here, you throw it on a drill. That's how I got all the goo off from the emblems on the Ranger. But I took a shot and just flinged it all off. You can see a little bit of residue left on here. I did these off the engine. So took the gaskets from the other engine. They were rubber. I hate cork gaskets, so I don't know why Blueprint uses a cork gasket, but I used the rubber gaskets, stuck them on. I did use the Blueprint hold downs. I mean, they're not Blueprint hold downs, they're valve cover hold downs, but I used their bolts and their hold downs because this guy did a number at Ace Hardware, and basically just everything is grade 8 with double lock washers for the valve covers. The intake bolts, I already replaced those prior with stainless and washers, where he had grade 8 bolts with lock washers that like buried into the intake. So I did that. I got it all painted up. I marked the 0 on the timing tab so I don't have to reach down in there and do it. I got the fuel pump block off on there. I'll probably spray that black real quick, but I taped off the heads real good, did all that, painted it, got it together. You can see there's still little remnants of orange here and there, but that's okay. Then I cleaned up the intake, took a set of like regular Felpros, and those don't work. Blueprint intake ports, like I'll use this motor for example. Like these are pretty nice intake ports on a small block Chevy. Well, a standard Felpro gasket actually fits perfect. Like the port is almost perfectly matched to this gasket. Oh no, not Blueprint. Blueprint has an absolute massive intake port, and boy, I tell you what, you can see there's 4 gaskets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I put these on this motor, and I tell you, if I lined up the bottom of the port, I don't know why I'm over here. If I lined up the bottom of the port with their head, like had I lined it up like this, and you look, you could see this one's really, really close. It's almost perfect. Blueprint, this gasket was like almost like, you see the edge of the port? It was almost like right there. Basically, the entire gasket is inside the port. Like it had a huge lip, and I thought, man, what the hell? Literally, I set the intake on. That's why these gaskets have RTV and they're trashed, because I set the intake on to bolt it on, and I noticed like a little, ever so slight, like black line. I thought, man, that's almost looks like I can see the intake port. I debated And I said, you know what? Let me take my borescope. You turn it on. This is a cheap Harbor Freight one, but you turn it on and it's got LEDs in the end of it that are pretty bright. So I basically took it and stuck it through the intake runner and shined it up, and I could see the light from outside of the intake. And I thought, what is going on? So being that they give you this parts list, basically it has plugs, balancer, flex plate, flywheel, all that stuff. We went over that last time. It does recommend an intake, a dual plane, which does not work for ours, an Edelbrock 7101. So I go on Edelbrock's site, and their gasket is just listed as a part. It has a part number, but it's just listed as a small block Chevy. So that didn't do me any good. Next best thing, call Blueprint. They built it. They bolt intakes on every single engine. They know typically what gasket to use. So I called them, and there it is. This is the part number he gave me. So this is the part number I buy. 90314-2, which is a standard small block Chevy, from like 72 to 85 or something like that. That fits. This is the one that you need, 1205. And you can even see they list out the gasket port size as just over 1 1/4, 1.28 by 2.09. That's big. These don't even list that out. Which 2.09, let's see. Let's take a tape measure and just see. It's less than 2 inches. So it's definitely a much bigger intake port on it. So called over, ordered these. They brought them over. We don't use the end seals. You use a blob. Ouch! You basically use half a tube of RTV, front and rear, and you hope it squishes out, which in this case is squished out. So, and I have something over the distributor hole just because I got fat finger syndrome. So you can see here, it's squished out. So we should be good there. I put the power steering pump on. I put the temp sender in. Yeah, so, and it's got 5 quarts of Mobil 1 1030, which is more or less what they recommend. Where is it? Oil and filter. So they recommend Blueprint 1030, Blueprint engine service oil, and then a Blueprint small block Chevy oil filter, a Wix part number 51061. I like Wix filters. They're really good. Advanced doesn't sell a Wix filter, so we did the K&N, which I gotta wipe. Man, that is dirty. HP 3003. So that's on there. Everything is on there, ready to go. I think in the morning, waiting on the balancer and flex plate, which he says it should be here tomorrow. So in the morning, I think I'm gonna put the water pump and alternator bracket on, because I had this on when I took it off and it wasn't in the way of getting the engine out. So I don't think the water pump or anything will be in the way. I got a pretty big open area. The hard part is actually the headers. Like, they don't move a whole lot. They bump into everything. So I don't have a lot of room. Still trying to be careful not to break that stupid kick down, but it's holding up. Because it hangs up on the corners of the block, the head bolts, the temp sender, and then this corner of the block hangs up on this header over here. But it's just a matter of like finagling. Now that I look at it, I'm gonna have to pull the dipstick because the header has to go over and behind it. It's not a big deal. I'll yank that out real quick, and I gotta slide it in tonight. Pull Johnathan's truck forward, shut the door, get ready to go. But I also got Johnathan's truck. I did the window wiper hooker dookers. That's on there. Then the seal is in. All the seals are in. The trim is back. Kick panel's back. bottom pieces, door with the handle, window crank handle. I don't know, I have like an OCD issue, so I'd like pointed it down on that side to match, but that side's all on, everything's all on. And I also put in his dash piece that goes up there, like the defroster something or other. You can see it goes all the way across the windshield or dashboard under the windshield. I don't know, I might need to push it down a couple spots. That's not a big deal. I just kind of stuck it in. Then I also grabbed his new wiper arms. Holy moly, Rain-X, with your conundrum pieces. This is some crazy interlock piece. You have to slide this off and then slide a tab back. I barely figured it out, but I got it figured out. Got them on. I'll get them wiped down. Plus the trucks need to get washed, but those are on. I almost wish they were color matched. But they're brand new, so they look really, really clean on there. So a few hours in, a couple hours worth of just throwing some trim on Johnathan's truck. I wiped the door panels down, sprayed some cleaner on them because the painter's a lazy bastard, and I don't know, but you can see all the filth. So I'm gonna have to basically detail his entire truck. Not a big deal, but whatever. So I wiped a bunch of stuff down just to kind of clean it up. It's been sitting, it's getting dusty, but I got all the interior done. Yeah. So next step tomorrow, fingers crossed, these parts show up at a reasonable hour and I can get this in. At the very least, if I can get the transmission all bolted up, the headers bolted up, you know, get the big parts back in, done, then I can come in Wednesday, knock out all the small stuff and fire it up, heat cycle it. I don't think I need to heat cycle it, but I'm going to heat cycle it. I'm going to see about changing that return fitting to like a 45. I don't know why dipshit put a I could swap for the feed. I could swap what? Yeah, I could swap the feed fitting for the return, because that could be a straight. It can't. I don't know. So I just hate that hits that header. It's basically going to catch on fire. I hate that the transmission dipstick hits the header. It's going to catch on fire. But yeah, if I can get, you know, all these bits and pieces in the car done, I will be in a very good place tomorrow. So everything over here is laid out. Motor mounts, coil, still got to go on the intake. The oil pressure sensor, that is something that I do not want to put back in the bottom of the block. That guy had it in here in a 90 and it faced forward and the wire was close to the header and it looked like dog crap. So I think, but I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But I can get a adapter that has the male 1/8 inch MPT, I think is the 1/8 inch MPT, and it basically just has a female 1/8 inch MPT, so it's like an extension, just to raise this sensor up. Also going to dig through the harness to try and find the fuel pressure sensor, because where'd you hide that? This harness is supposed to have a fuel pressure sensor, and I couldn't find it last go around when I did all of that cutting open of the harness and stuff. It should come out with the oil pressure sensor, which is right here, and I believe it was extended. So I'm going to look in this end. That's the wideband going down there, but I'm going to look in there. Yeah, I can see right there where they were extended down. So I'm going to look in here and see if I can't find that fuel pressure wire. And it should probably just come off this 5-volt and sensor ground, and then it should have its own wire going to the ECU. Hopefully it's in there. It's always good to log fuel pressure through the Holly. You have the ability to do it. You should just do it. Don't cut the damn wires out. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. Yep. That's it. My buddy Johnathan came by this morning. His truck's needing a turbo. Ooh, bring it to me. I'll give you a turbo. Oh, this guy, I tell you, another case of monster. So, I appreciate Johnathan very much. Appreciate that everybody watch, subscribe, hit the bell. Paul. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and have a good day.